So welcome to the last class of this 3D Max V-Ray. I know you're also excited. So in today's class we'll do the final render settings. Now this is just draft and it's really looking nice, but let us now let us do the final render settings and also the post-production in this class. So now after the test render, I can see that I made some mistakes, like this tree is floating, so I've corrected it. I'll bring it down. So let me do that. Press P. So it's inside. Even though all I wanted was just the leaves, as in this part, I wanted this part to show. So I will now end isolate. So now we want to do the draft render settings. Once we have done the draft render settings, we can now do the so now we want to do the final render settings. So we leave this as it is. We'll come to V-Ray. Now we are going to use bucket. Then the threshold we use 0.003 to reduce the noise as much as possible. Image filter, let's leave it at this. Color mapping, you can leave it at this or you can choose exponential. I prefer exponential, but by default what it renders is also okay. GI, so I think that is all for the V-Ray. Next one is GI, radiance map. We'll put it at high or medium, then change the subdivision to like 75. Light catch, change it to 1.18. okay, then under this you click on this default. The saturation, I'll put it at 0.23. I'll on the ambient inclusion, that's to give it finer edges. Then under irradiance, I'll expand it and check detail enhancement. All these are going to make your work very slow, but at the end of the day it will be very sharp. Okay, so that is all for that. Then settings, will leave it as it is. Render elements, would use V-Ray designer, but if you want to use other elements, so for example, let's say we use V-Ray reflection and refraction, and V-Ray shadows. So you can add as many elements you want, but these are the ones I usually use. Specular, okay. So by the time we go to Photoshop, you understand all these elements that we use. So let's go back to our command and check again. Our V-Ray, we have reduced it to 0.003 and we are using bucket. Exponential for the color mapping. Light in GI, we have irradiance and light catch. We put it on high or medium. Detail enhancement, we checked it. Ambient occlusion, we checked it. Settings, we did nothing, and we added all these elements. So let's start to render. So it's going to take some time, but let it load for a while. Then I'll pause it. Then once it has finished rendering, we'll now take it to Photoshop. Yes? Okay, I'm coming. So it's rendering, so let me pause it. So once it's complete, we'll continue. Okay, it has rendered for a while, so but I need to explain some more details to you. Okay, so this is our render image. Now I told you about render elements, so let me explain it much better for you. So let's go to our render setup. Now, like I said, render elements, I'm taking this over again so that you will understand it much better. So render elements are just elements that you use to enhance your image. So you have it here. So now the ones I usually use are V-Ray denoiser, V-Ray reflection, refraction, shadows, and extra text, specular. Now this specular, I don't need it for now, so let me delete it. So all you have to do is to add the elements you need. Okay, you can add as many elements you need, but these are the 5 that I usually use. Now they have some settings like this V-Ray denoiser. If I scroll down, the preset, I put it at mild so that it does not remove all the details in your work. Okay, so mild is okay for that. Reflection, you don't do anything. Refraction, shadows, extra text, you click on it, then you scroll down to the parameters. So under texture you see none, so just click on it and you click on V-Ray depth map. Okay, you press your M, then drag it into the material editor at an instance, double click on it and put the radius at 300. This is just to make sure that it comes out well. Okay, so that is all for extra text. Then V-Ray Z depth is about the camera settings. So you click on it and you scroll down. You see Z depth minimum and Z depth maximum. So under the maximum, you go to your camera. I'm on C physical camera, so you select your camera. Now under the modifier tool, you see the target distance. Now the target distance is about 12 meters, so we'll type in 12 meters for the maximum. So you check what you have here. Yours might not be 12 meters. I mean, I'll just round it. Yours might not be 11 meters thereabouts. It might be more, it might be less. So whatever you have here, just round it up. So I've rounded it up to 12 meters. So that is about the V-Ray Z depth. Okay, so those are the settings you do for your, what you call it, for your render elements. Now after you have rendered for some time, it will now bringing out all these elements. So this is V-Ray denoiser, this is reflection. So these are the elements that are reflecting something on it. You can see the tree is showing on this glass panel, showing on this window. These are elements that are refractive, you can see. V-Ray shadows, specular, it gives highlights to the area that is glossy or or reflect, very reflective. Extract text, usually in white and black. V-Ray Z depth. Which other one again did we add? So I think those are all that we added. So by the time we finish rendering, we will now save them as a separate file, so I can now use it in Photoshop. So let's render again. So I'm re-rendering again. I stopped the render so that I can explain these render elements for you. So it will re-render all the elements to again. So we'll wait for it to render for a while. At least, okay, anyway, to show the number of hours that it will, so I'll let you know the number of hours used at the end of the day. But within an hour, it depends on your system anyways. So within an hour I should be able to get a good render. So I'll wait for an hour for it to render. So by then we'll resume the class so that we can now do the post-production, which is the last video. And so I'll be so excited to see your project. You can see it's a very simple process just for you to practice, and you get it. Okay, I assure you, you get it. If you have any issues, you just call on me or WhatsApp me or email me, and I will explain it even much better. Okay, so let's wait for an hour for it to render, and we'll resume back.